Hi there, Sky. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share with you my Canvas course for my biochemistry class. It's a class that I'm teaching this spring, actually. I'm going to start the timer so I don't go over my 10 minutes. I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to try something a little bit different here, and I'm going to jump right in to my thought process, and I'm going to jump right into how the technology has been integrated into the class and how I've used the PICRAT matrix that Kimmons advocated for back in the day. So let's take a look here. This is my Canvas course. It's divided into modules. Each of the modules has 4 or 5 pages attached, except for the getting started module, which is kind of long, but nonetheless important. So here are my modules: week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and week 5 is actually next week. And this is the week that I've modified the material. So let me talk you through the various pages in the modules. The first page for the students outlines their learning goals, a little bit of an introduction, weekly objectives, learning goals, and then secondly, of course, my learning content, the learning material, using the principles of universal design and providing the students with the material in as many different forms as I can. But here are my PowerPoint slides. Here are the PowerPoint slides in the PDF form, so students can open the PDF of the lectures. Maybe easier than the PowerPoints. But here are some videos, a link out to some additional lecture content given by outside authors. And the last page in all of the modules is a wrap-up page where I outline the big 5 points that I think the students should know from the week's activities. But I wanted to focus for you here, in the interests of time, on what I've changed in this course based on our Canvas Certified Educator time together this month. This is a copy of my Pathways and Puzzles page. Remember, the students used to get these pathways and puzzles, and they used to work in groups to annotate these pathways and fill in the gaps. This is a low-tech, no-tech version of a learning activity. But what I've done using this PICRAT model to consider technology integration, I've used the Canvas quizzing tools to put together a quiz bank, multiple boxes in my quiz bank, and students can take this quiz multiple times, and each time they take the quiz pulls out questions from different boxes. So students really get an individualized learning experience. And evidence of their progress towards their learning goals is recorded in the gradebook. So I see how they're doing, they see how they're doing, and also when they take a quiz, they get feedback. So there's a lot of this feedback. It's a formative assessment. It's a practice quiz. It's formative assessment. And I really learned a lot from reading the publication from the Office of Educational Technology that they published in 2017. It talked a lot about the importance of formative assessment. I like to use the term assessments for learning rather than assessments of learning. So let's take a quiz anyway. Let's jump in. Let's take a quiz, remembering that back in the day they used to get this paper-based version. Then they downloaded PDFs onto their iPads, and now they've got an integrated learning activity that I'm really kind of proud of, have to tell you. It's really transformed the learning process. When they used the iPad, really, it was really operating on that substitution level. where the iPad was just providing a substitute for the paper. But let me show you a couple of things that I think are really important in providing formative feedback. So here's the quiz. Well, they can take the quiz many times, but let me take it here. Bear with me a second. So they get, in each time they take the quiz, they get 5 multiple choice questions, and then they get a couple of questions about DNA and a couple of other images and a couple of questions that are pulled from the Pathways quiz bank. So a couple of these here. So you'll see here, look at this. You'll see a picture of the DNA, and then the students are required to use the drop-down menu to pick out the right letter that goes with these items here. Here's a molecule here, and here's the endoplasmic reticulum here, but the same drop-down menu for each one. And this is a cool exercise here where they've got enzymes and pathways. But here's an exercise, here's a question here taken directly from my Pathways and Puzzles activity. And the students have to identify the number and connect the number with the enzymes. So I'm going to submit this quiz here, and you'll notice that the students are really answering these quizzes, and you'll just notice here, and it's more, you see better examples in other questions, but here, correct, good job. And I tell them a little bit about the genetic code, right? So I'm using this as a formative example, right? So the students can learn by taking the quiz. It's just a shame, really, that educators weren't trained in the art of writing test questions. Oh, and I've clicked on preview the quiz again, and I've got another set of questions here. So some of them are the same, some of them are different. But let me just click a couple of these here. Okay. And then we'll see if we can get some better feedback. But, you know, my thought process was really that, you know, some of the students were doing these pathways and puzzles. Other students in the class were probably not doing them. Other students were being just passive, you know, and I was hoping that by using this technology, using the pages, using the quiz tool, you know, here's another example of the feedback that I'm giving the students. So these formative assessments really, 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 really important. And if I can use this assessment and get the students to write the questions, that would be amazing. That would take me to the creative level of technology integration. But I've used the Canvas course evaluation guidelines. The number of tabs available is shorter. There's no scrolling on the pages. The scores to these formative assignments, the formative activity goes in the grade book. Students see how they're performing. The activity perfectly aligns with my learning goals. And it's just been a fun experience for me. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to improve the students' really engagement with the class. And the PICRAT model of Kimmins, it's really helped me integrate. There's no mistaking that this is actually part of the course, right? So thank you for listening to the video. Longer than I expected to talk, but it's still well under 10 minutes. I know you've probably got a lot of these to listen to. Thanks again for everything, and I'm so proud of my Canvas course and the way it's turned out. So thank you for your help with that.